Hey everybody, I'm Jen, I'm 33, and I still write a lot of fan fiction. Quick reminder here at the top that this is an inclusive space where Black Lives Matter and we are anti-Asian hate. That means that you're safe here in the video with me and in the comments below, where no hate speech of any kind will be tolerated. Okay, so I've been gone for a minute. I had a video prepped, written, and recorded, some of it even, and it was about Hercules, Disney's Hercules, and how they raise the stakes in that movie. And I just decided that it wasn't very good, and it mostly just recapped the movie. So kind of scrapped that idea for now, but hoping to get that out sometime this summer. This past week was the twins' half birthday. Happy birthday, babies. And also the Hercuversary. That movie has now been out for 24 years. So happy Hercuversary, everyone. Of course, now it is July, which means that Camp NaNoWriMo has begun, and I have begun my daily vlogging, but with a camera that has an SDXC card in it, and I don't have a card reader that can get that footage off of it. So for now, please enjoy the only available footage of the first few days of Camp NaNoWriMo, where I saw a dog at the drive-thru at Starbucks.
Do you see the giant puppy? Do you see him? He's ordering a puppuccino. Hello, puppy. Bye, puppy.
So great. As you can tell from the precise and great accent that I did in that video, which was, to my credit, taken at 6 o'clock in the morning, Camp NaNoWriMo's going great. Not only am I working on 50,000 words of Project Showtime Mark II, which is going to be the second version of my paranormal romance, but I'm also finishing up the romance novella that I worked on for a couple days in a hotel. So the original deadline was June 30th, and I had to submit either the full 20,000 words or the first 10 pages with a very detailed outline of the rest of the work. And I've written about the first 15,000 of it. So I submitted the first 10 pages, included a detailed outline and a couple of excerpts from the book itself, or what I've written of it. And that is currently being overhauled so that if they come back to me and say, hey, we'd love to see the rest of it, I can say, great, it's done, please enjoy. So that is my first project during Camp NaNoWriMo, which means that Showtime gets pushed back a little bit because this one has a deadline. There's another project that's actually going on right now. I got chosen to write a piece for the Falcon and Winter Soldier fanzine called Partners. It's got a bunch of words struck through and my brain is not grabbing onto them right now. So it's just called Partners. That'll be coming out. I think pre-orders don't start until the end of August, so I'll keep you guys posted, but just know that I'm writing a piece for that as well, and that is going to be fan fiction. Vocabulary word of the day. When you scrub your fan fiction, you take out all the references to the original canon of whatever it is that it's fan fiction of, and you make the characters original, the situation original. That can be something as simple as changing the names, or it could mean that you have to change a lot more of the book. So 50 Shades of Grey is actually scrubbed Twilight fan fiction. There's a few other scrubbed fan fictions that ended up getting published and written. The romance novella started as fan fiction. That's how I got it written so fast. And then they wanted to see the fan fiction with a plan of how you were going to scrub it. So that means I'm working on 3 different projects this Nano. I'm fine. This is fine. I actually wanted to talk about goals today anyway, so let's just go ahead and dive in. I've talked about NaNoWriMo a lot. There's probably a playlist on the channel. It's National Novel Writing Month, and it started almost 15 years ago as a simple website where it was a self-imposed deadline of writing 50,000 words in 30 days. And at the time, it was just a community where people got together online and talked about whatever project they were working on. There were no rewards. There was no hugely interactive website at the time. It was just sort of a thing to announce the event. And it has grown massively to a huge international event every year in November. And now they have kind of offshoot projects as well throughout the year. So they run camp officially now 2 times a year, once in April and once in July. I was going to do camp in April and it just did not happen. And so now I'm really putting in a concerted effort to do it this July. While you're encouraged to write 50,000 words during NaNoWriMo itself, and that is technically the only way to win the event, during camp, you can write 50,000 words, you can write 20,000 words, you can spend 10 hours editing, you can write 5,000 words. You can set a very different goal whatever it is that you're able to do in that month. It's just a matter of joining that community and knowing that hundreds of thousands of other people are doing it too. So yeah, I probably could have gone easy on myself and set a much lower goal, but I want to rewrite Project Showtime and then have something to work on. The other thing that I made a priority this quarter was putting some money into hiring an editor to look at the current manuscript of The Last Stand, which is the magical Western that I wrote a couple of years ago and submitted to a pitch contest and actually came in first runner-up. I queried it to a bunch of agents following that contest and actually got some really great feedback. So I decided it wasn't a project worth abandoning, but I certainly needed to put some time and money into it before it was going to get picked up by a publisher. I went through with that early on in June. I actually just got the edits back from my editor who I found through Reedsy.com. I'm going to put her name and a link to her Reedsy profile in the description below. And I'll explain that project a little bit more in a different video. We're going to stick to our Camp NaNoWriMo discussion. So yeah, I set the 50,000 word goal kind of before these other projects were even on my radar, before I got accepted for the Partners fanzine, and before I found the opportunity to submit this romance novella to. And realistically, I probably should only shoot for about 20,000 words on Project Showtime, but I know that if I lower that goal, I'm going to lower my output, and I've hit a pretty good groove of writing consistently almost every day of the week right now. So I kind of want to stay on that high and keep going and writing as long as my brain will let me. I've also been on a pretty good kick of writing shorter pieces a couple times a week, as that was another one of my quarterly goals. I have a few pieces that I've submitted to the weekly Reedsy writing contest. Again, I can leave a link to that in the description below, but some of it I've kind of been sitting on and holding back so that I can submit it to other places that pay. If you win the weekly Reedsy contest, you win $50, which is wonderful, especially for a short piece. But usually there's anywhere between 500 to 1,000 submissions each week, and if I put it forward for the contest, it gets published on their website, which means that a lot of places won't take it as a first publication. So what does all this mean for Camp NaNoWriMo and my goals for Camp NaNoWriMo? Like I said, my goals haven't changed. I'm still planning on writing 50,000 words on Project Showtime. I'm still planning on finishing up the Benny and Miles story, possibly publishing it to Archive of Our Own if it doesn't get picked up by Carnation Press. If it does, obviously finishing up that submission and working with them. And then at the very least, outlining the piece that I'm going to be writing for the Partners fanzine. In order to get all of this done in a month that I'm not used to jamming in 50,000 words, I've had to be very thoughtful about tracking my time and figuring out how long all of these things take me. I know that I can write about 500 words in a half-hour sprint, which means that it takes me about an hour to write 1,000 words. And even if that means that I get distracted and I go make myself a cup of tea or I end up doing something with the kids, that's a pretty conservative estimate. So that doesn't mean that I have to be absolutely laser focused and typing as fast as I possibly can. That's kind of an average, 1,000 words in an hour. The other piece that I've been doing a lot more of, especially with my submissions, is editing as I go, which is certainly not something I'm used to during NaNoWriMo. So I sat down with my time timer, bing, and I set what I thought would be my time for how long it takes me. Once I've written kind of like the zero draft of something, I like to print it out, mark it up with pen, and then edit it in the computer. The pen edits take about 5 minutes per page, and then the computer edits take anywhere between 25 to 40 minutes per page. So I've given myself about a half hour per page, which averages out because sometimes I spend a really long time on a page figuring out new names for people or a plot device. And then other times I'm going through the page and I'm like, okay, everything here is great. Maybe some grammatical stuff. So it averages out pretty well. So for the month of July, I am trying to spend a few hours each day on a very specific project, whatever needs my attention the most. And right now that's the Benny and Miles project so that I can finish writing it. And then I bounce around from that piece to the Project Showtime piece right now. July 18th is my self-imposed partners deadline. And the reason for that is because there is a group that I recently joined on Facebook called the Heartbreathings Writing Sprint Challenge. And they have a virtual writing retreat every month. It is the third weekend of the month every single month, barring national holidays or other stuff that's going on. And last month was themed for the Murder on the Orient Express. And it was actually the weekend that I was out of town, so I didn't get to take part in it very much. But I'm really excited about taking part in July. I'll leave a link down in the description below. I'm going to spend some of those 3 days finishing up my outline for the piece that I'm going to write for partners. I actually had to submit a couple of different proposals for story ideas, and they told me which one they liked the best. So I already know what I'm going to write, and I just need to outline it and keep it within a certain word count. Knowing that I have these other deadlines and knowing how long this work is going to take me makes it a little bit easier to plan my Camp NaNoWriMo showtime goals around these other things that are going on. It means that I can budget my time a little bit better and that I know what I'm getting into. So I'm not arbitrarily saying, okay, this month I'm going to write for 60 hours and then have no idea what kind of work I can actually get done in those 60 hours. I actually know what my end goal is for all of these projects. I know what my word count is, what the outline is going to be, and I'm setting aside time for those things. So the expectations are a lot better outlined than in April when I was like, okay, I'm just going to read this book and see if I've even got anything to edit. Then I'm going to just spend X amount of hours editing it. I think the real key to success this month is going to be the writing communities that I've joined in the last couple of months, and knowing that I have certain times where I need to log into Zoom or turn on YouTube and other people will be writing as well. That's always been a huge motivator for me in the past. So I'm using it to create my schedule for this month. I've actually kind of organized my day around those times, and I'll show you more about that in some of my vlogs coming up. But for now, that's all I've got to say. If you get anything out of these videos at all, I really hope that you will click on the subscribe button down below and give us a thumbs up. You can also buy me a coffee on my Ko-fi page, which is linked in the description below, or you can become a regular patron of my Patreon. There are 3 tiers on my Patreon right now, starting at $1 a month, so you can support me for the price of $1 bill per month. If you want a few more perks, like voting on the openers for these videos, you can join the $5 tier, or for $10 a month, you can also commission some fan works of your own. The Patreon community is also where I upload bonus content, such as the template for studying characters on my Cheers video. That's all I've got for now. I will be back next week with hopefully some actual vlog footage from my week in Camp NaNoWriMo, writing all these different projects and juggling that with, you know, Corona times. Let me know if you're taking part in Camp NaNoWriMo. How do you fit it into your schedule? And if you don't, tell me that too. Don't forget to take care of yourselves, hydrate because it is hot out there, and get a regular amount of sleep at night. I'll see you guys next week. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Are you always this articulate?
Hercules. My name is Hercules.